Imagine a land that covers 1/5 of the entire Earth's surface. It's been inhabited for over 12,000 years by more than 1 million people. We're talking majestic forests, 2 million rivers, and yeah, advanced societies. Well, this vast continent is right on the brink of a massive collision, one that's going to forge a new nation in fire. Let's get into how it all went down.
See, the story we're digging into today is how modern Canada was really shaped by 2 straight centuries of conflict, constant fighting over land, resources, and of course, power. As one historian put it, this history has lots of blood and guts and nastiness.
And this is absolutely crucial to remember. Long before any Europeans showed up, this land already had a name. It was called Ganada. It was home to powerful confederacies like the Wendat and their longtime rivals, the Haudenosaunee. And these weren't simple societies. They had their own economies, their own democracies, and a deep, deep relationship with the world around them.
Okay, so the event that really kicks our story into high gear happens in 1608. That's when a fiercely ambitious French explorer named Samuel de Champlain shows up. Now, he wasn't just there to trade and then leave. No, he was there to build a nation, New France. So what was fueling all this ambition? You might be surprised. It was this little guy, the beaver. That soft fur was used to make these incredibly stylish hats that were all the rage back in Europe. This created a ridiculously lucrative market, and whoever controlled the fur trade would basically control the continent's economic future.
So to get a foothold, Champlain strikes this historic deal with Chief Ochistaguen of the Wendat. The French get exclusive access to a massive fur network. And in return, the Wendat get a powerful military ally armed with a brand new, game-changing weapon, the arquebus. This firearm would completely flip the balance of power in the region on its head.
This French-Wendat alliance pretty much created a monopoly on the fur trade. But, it wasn't long before another superpower arrived on the scene, ready to fight for a piece of the pie, the mighty British Empire. So these two empires had completely different game plans. The French, they focused on trade, on building alliances, and kind of integrating with the indigenous networks. The British, on the other hand, were all about aggressive settlement and just taking land. Their colonies grew so fast that their population was soon 18 times larger than New France. France was getting desperate to close that population gap. King Louis XIV even launched this program to send hundreds of poor orphaned women known as the filles du roi over to marry settlers and build families. They were given a dowry, a pension for having kids, and you know what? Their efforts actually doubled the population of New France. The times were so cutthroat that it led to this just stunning act of treason. 2 French traders, Radisson and de Groseilliers, they discovered a motherlode of premium furs way up north. But when their own governor punished them for it, they took their discovery straight to King Charles II of England. The king funded them, and just like that, the Hudson's Bay Company was born, Britain's ultimate economic weapon against France. Okay, so with the Hudson's Bay Company established, Britain now had a chokehold on the fur trade from the north. The stage was set for a final, epic showdown between these 2 empires, a war that was going to decide the fate of the entire continent. And the key to the whole thing was Quebec City. Founded by Champlain 150 years earlier, it was a fortress. It was the military and symbolic heart of New France, and it was protected by nature itself. I mean, think about it. The city was guarded by cliffs the height of Niagara Falls. For the British general, James Wolfe, the whole challenge seemed impossible. The French were totally convinced their fortress could not be breached. But Wolfe had a plan, a really daring one. Under the cover of total darkness, he led 4,500 soldiers on this breakneck climb up a steep, narrow path. The French were completely, utterly taken by surprise. As one military expert put it, what you don't see coming, that's what's going to get you.
And what happened next was one of the most iconic and just shockingly brief battles in all of history. The fate of New France, a century and a half in the making, was decided right there on the Plains of Abraham in less than 30 minutes. The British had won.
So, with France defeated, the conflict shifts. A new power was rising to the south, the United States of America. And their ambition would spark the final war that forged a new, distinct identity on the continent. This quote from Thomas Jefferson, it just perfectly captures the American attitude going into the War of 1812. With 8 million people compared to the colony's few hundred thousand, and with Britain tied up fighting Napoleon in Europe, they honestly believed conquering their northern neighbor would be a walk in the park. But they were wrong.
So wrong. Instead of just collapsing, the brutal tactics of the American invasion actually galvanized a deeply divided population. It gave French settlers, British loyalists, and indigenous nations a common cause, defending their homes and their independence.
Now, a pivotal figure in this whole defense was the Shawnee chief Tecumseh. He was a brilliant leader who understood there could be no compromise with the insatiable American expansion. He forged a powerful indigenous confederacy and then allied with the British, becoming an absolutely indispensable leader in the war.
And their alliance was just a masterclass in strategy. At the siege of Fort Detroit, they got their hands on intelligence that revealed the American commander was terrified of indigenous warriors. So what did Tecumseh do? He used this brilliant trick, marching his warriors in circles through the woods to create the illusion of thousands of them, which scared the Americans so badly they surrendered without a major fight.
And this is what made the defense so remarkable. It was this incredible coalition of former rivals and desperate communities, all fighting for their future. You had indigenous nations defending their land, British soldiers defending the empire, French-Canadian militia fighting to preserve their culture, and even escaped American slaves who knew a U.S. victory meant being sent right back into bondage.
So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway. The War of 1812 was, in a way, Canada's War of Independence. It was in this collective defense, this banding together against a common enemy, that a shared identity was really forged. They didn't know exactly what they were yet, but they knew one thing for damn sure. They were not American.
From those first alliances over beaver pelts to that diverse coalition that fought off an invasion, the story of Canada is one of both bitter conflict and really surprising collaboration. It was forged in fire by people who first fought each other and then fought together. Which leaves us with a final question to think about. How does that complex legacy continue to shape the nation we see today?